business. I just got a text from my sheriff, which is Kinney County, Eagle Pass area, where the Border Patrol cut the fence and let people through. And we're hearing about it from people all over Texas. So we have gone to the Texas Rangers, and there is a group in Eagle Pass, and we have demanded an investigation into it. And I have the phone number, and I have the man's name for all those people in Texas that need to be heard. And my sheriff just sent me a text, and it says, any word from the ranger. But I do have a text with all the information if anybody wants it. Jill sent me a text to read, and it's kind of a lot, not necessarily in the length, but in the words. My dearest friends, it is so hard not being with you all this weekend, but the Lord has other plans for me right now. This is certainly not a battle I would have picked, but He is good and sovereign, and I know He has things for me to learn and ways to glorify Himself during this time. So please pray I will submit my will to Him and hang on to Jesus. Please remember my husband Curtis, who is a rock star right now, and our sweet son Nick, who is staying with us to help. This time has clarified my thinking and resolve that the work we do is important for the citizens of Texas and our nation. We hold the answer to how government should run in protecting liberties and upholding biblical principles, honoring how our Creator intends. So please be encouraged and continue the excellent work you are doing. Please spend committee time discussing the special session and what we need to do regarding educational freedom. And also, hopefully, we can get a special session for the border and election integrity. I have asked Dave and Tish on education and Andy on elections. Thank you all, and I'm praying for you all and that it's a wonderfully productive weekend. I begin chemo Tuesday, so please pray that occurs with no delay, and my prayer is to be back with you soon. All my love, Jill. So those of you that do not know, does everybody know about Jill? Jill has breast cancer, and it's really rough right now, and she had to wait for her insurance. And so she's been really sick for several weeks now, and they're just now able to start chemo.
I hate insurance companies.
Takes a lot for us, doesn't it?
Sorry, I hope nobody's an insurance person in there.
I am, but not health, so you're good.
So, Mr. Wiley, do you have an idea how we'd like to split up and discuss? I do want y'all to know that I have asked if there's any time tomorrow, or even today, I have asked to give the whole group, meaning everybody, an update on the border. So we'll see if that time allows. There's a real craziness going on. Yes.
I'm just right behind you.
Okay.
Whatever direction.
Okay, I'll do it.
Is it true that President Biden ordered the Border Patrol to remove the wire that had been placed?
There's no way to really know. Border Patrol takes their orders from, the top person is Jason Owens. He took Royal Ortiz's place, and that would have come all the way up. There's a lot of intel that comes out through Border Patrol that is kept verbal because they don't want it in paper. Things get passed around now, so there's a lot hidden, but they would not have acted on that without being told to do that. It's a mess. I mean, it's more than you can even begin to imagine. So if anybody saw my text message, I sent out, because night before last I got a call, and we had 4,500 come through Eagle Pass, and the trains were coming, and there was 3,000 more. And they did not have, guys, they have to be fed. at least fed. There has to be restrooms for them. You know, they can sleep on the sidewalks, but you really need these things. And for the very first time, the Democrat mayor of Eagle Pass stepped up to the plate and said, enough is enough, no more. And so they decided to process, and meaning prosecute. However, with that many people in line, they couldn't do it. So we put a call out, and I called all the biggest counties around the state. I am what they call the odd girl, the odd job girl, probably the odd girl too, but really the odd job girl. And I was asked to try to find a mobile command post with live scan. I don't even know what live scan is, but it did sound like I knew what I was talking about. So I called all these counties, and everybody, it was after 6, so they were all like, well, we'll give you a call back tomorrow. In the meantime, we found a multi-purpose building right by the bridge that they were going to set up. It had to have internet, restrooms, lights, and DPS was going to set up a big facility, and that's what we were going to do. And it got axed by the governor yesterday morning. Forget it, don't do it, let them go. So they were all turned over to Border Patrol and let go. I would like to turn that off. So yeah, go ahead.
How do we, do we need to go ahead and call roll, make sure we're all here, or?
You could write everybody's name down. Do you know everybody? Who is on a committee? This committee. And yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, why don't you can try for a roll, see what we get.
Good.
Go ahead.
I just need everybody's names.
Okay, start with Tisha and let's go around the room.
Okay. So we have Tisha Kern.
You did.
Who else? We have Christina sitting in for Kristen Brintley.
Mm-hmm.
We have John Kerr walking into the room for John Kerr.
Sorry.
You're okay. Next, Melinda, and okay. And are y'all all on subcommittees? Heading subcommittees?
Yeah, chairing subcommittees.
So you've got,
I've got education and schools.
and then,
Well, I'm on 3 committees, but I'm not chair on any of those.
okay, what 3 committees are you on?
I'm on the abortion one, the gender modification one, and the border one.
Okay,
I'm David Wiley, and I was, no good chairs, failing committee.
right. Okay, John?
John Carr, what are you asking me? I forgot.
Just John Carr, and what you're,
What do you do here?
Oh, I'm chair of the abolish abortion.
okay. Matt,
He's not, he's sitting in here.
Not part of the committee, just observing.
you're just hanging out. Anybody else just not part of the committee or on the committee, or you're on the committee?
No, hanging out.
Anybody else on the committee? No, okay, cool.
So let's talk about anybody that has something coming up on special session that you're for sure. You have something coming up, right?
Educational freedom.
Let me give you the mic. And
Give us the updates.
yeah, give us any updates you have.
Well, I don't know it depends on what comes out.
So what do you anticipate?
Well, I imagine that the Senate's going to be just as they were last time, and they're going to be open to a bill. The House, there could be something that comes out, but the odds of the two of them lining up and them wanting to pass each other's bill, I mean, I don't see it happening unless, my personal opinion, the governor puts pressure on Dade Phelan, then I don't see it happening because he is not going to be in the mood to agree with us on anything. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade.
He did sound like it on Fox yesterday.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens when we get in there.
I saw that.
Yeah, well, he's trying to backtrack, but let's see what happens when we're there. And I could be totally wrong, but that's my impression.
No, you're not. I agree with you.
So,
Okay.
I don't know. We shall see what we see.
Okay, and is there any help that you would like or?
Absolutely. When we get to that point and we are in Austin, anybody who can sit in and testify and can be there, because I don't know how long we'll be in session, that would be very helpful.
So-
Even submitting testimony.
Yeah, submitting, and everyone knows that now that you do not have to be there. You can submit online.
Right.
And it's, I understand it's very effective because it's given a printout to the people on the committees.
Yeah.
Now, anybody that wants to go and testify that lives local, will you, if we maybe plan ahead and have printed out points? 'Cause
Sure.
I thought about.
Absolutely.
Go, you can hand it to me, I can speak on it. Even if I don't know, I'll sure sound like I know.
What,
I'm sure
Absolutely.
it's the same with everybody else.
what was the best thing we had cooking that we could ask our local representatives to bring back up during the special session?
The best bill that we had was Mays Middleton's bill. Really and truly, that was the best bill.
Topic was, and
It was educational freedom, but it was very far-reaching. It was a big bill, and it touched on a lot. But it made sure that we didn't mess with the homeschooling at all. It made sure that those parents and those children remained as they had been, but it allowed other parents with children to still put their children in another option if they so desired. And now there was a financial cap, there was only so much money there, which we understand. That's the only thing, but there's always going to have to be there's going to be a line in the sand. So, but Mays Middleton's bill was the best, and we worked with him on it. The party did, and we went to him and we had specific points that we wanted removed and wording added, and he was very receptive, and he made every change we requested.
how did that align with the governor's priority?
The governor basically just said that he wanted a school choice bill, and I never saw language that he cared what it said, with the exception of he wanted testing. And that's one thing that we didn't want. We didn't want standardized testing. And that's one thing that he did insist upon. So there was a delineation there.
And I did just get a note from Tom Novus. He's watching the live stream. So.
Okay,
And so
that was good, it was beneficial to
Yeah.
somebody.
Is Hayes gonna reoffer his bill as it was written before, if the session is called in?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him yet, but I plan on doing that since we're past the hearing now. I want to reach out to him, since we also know it's October, not November, and ask him if he's willing to do that and use the same wording, since that's something that we worked on. And the Senate was amenable, the party was amenable. I mean, that would put us very far forward than if we could just get the House on board. Anything else?
So in the testifying that you heard, individuals, could you share a little bit about that, kind of the points of view that people were putting out there?
Well, the Democrats basically just wanted nothing. They said this will deplete everything from public school. It will not allow us to have the funds that we need to make sure children can begin and end their public school careers, because we won't have the money. These buildings will fall down around their ears. We won't have teachers, no, really, And then the people who were speaking for educational freedom said, look, these are the issues. My child is being indoctrinated. My child is being subjected to things I don't believe in. My child is not learning. My child didn't learn during COVID. My child is still not learning. And you had many parents, and it was predominantly parents come up. But many of the people that were against it were ISD individuals. I mean, they worked for, were employed, or school board members. Not all, but many of them were, yes, which is money, again.
It's all about them.
One other question.
Yes.
Refresh my recollection as to who the committee chair was for that.
Betancourt.
Oh,
And in the House,
In the House, it was, I can't remember who it was in the House right now. Because most of the good bills came out of the Senate, to be honest. The ones that we were following.
it was the Democrat though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it was, I hesitate to use the word worthless, but yes, ma'am.
I'd heard that there were Republican representatives in West Texas that were against the bill
They were. My very own Brooks Landgraf.
because they felt that it would destroy their school districts. Because they've got smaller school districts, and that this really should apply to the big city areas and not apply to them, because of the impact it would have on them.
Well, there were some in the northern end of SD 31 that, again, that were small, but it was predominantly Democrats, but there were some Republicans who had many visits from their ISDs. And again, I can point back to my very own. Ector's not small. We're not large. We're not a Dallas, but we are not a McCamey either. We're not small. So we're that mid-sized city. And they were very much, the ISD officials were in Austin monthly. And so don't tell me that mine were the only ones. I'm sure they were there constantly. Ector, well, SD 31, but
What city is the mid-size?
Ector, Odessa.
Odessa.
And the Midlands the same way. We're almost sister cities. We'll mirror in almost every way. But the people were there, and they were there to advocate against any sort of educational freedom.
Are these bills really gonna destroy their
No,
ISDs?
no.
So do we need to send letters to those Republicans that were voting against it?
That would be wonderful. Anything you can do, a phone call, a text message, a letter, anything that they're hearing from their voter base, from their constituents, speaking to an issue, all you can do is hope that it moves the needle. You don't know, because some, it may not. But if it even moves just a few.
Can you send us a list of the Republicans that were opposing the bill?
Sure.
So that we can start communicating with them?
Now, on the committee, but I'm talking about, there were some that weren't on the committee that still voiced, even if it was behind the scenes opposition. Like in interviews, if they were asked, will you support this? Oh, goodness. So are you wanting a list of just the people on the committee, or are you wanting everything that we heard in totality?
That opposed it, that they can vote.
Okay. When it comes to the floor even?
We've got to turn them.
Well, we have to get it out of committee before we can get it to the floor. But it has to then survive the floor vote as well.
I think Abbott will probably hold them hostage until they pass something.
And he could. It would look really bad if nothing came out of it.
To have a special session and nothing
Come out.
came out of it. She got a text a minute ago, that has something to.
So Dana's watching live.
Hey, Dana.
So she did go ahead and send a couple of thoughts on, she said that she's spoken with Mandy Drogan, who I think is Abbott's main appointee for advising on school choice, saying that she'll help out with talking points as needed. So we can definitely refer to her on some of the.
And she's an expert.
Yes, and absolutely, yeah. And she was one that kind of traveled with the governor and did the rallies in all of the major rural areas. Yeah,
Is that
imagine.
John's wife?
Well,
Rachel Drogan?
It's Mandy.
Mandy Drogan.
Mandy Drogan?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's.
Look at her website. It's not Rachel.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
all good. All good.
Is that John Drogan's wife? Do you know?
I have no idea. Actually, no idea.
Right, never mind.
Yes, and so yes, yeah. Dana just says that Mandy will provide. So let's see here, and then the other, yeah, she says North and East Texas is kind of pushing back on school choice, so they'll probably see a big focus on pushing forward with that. But until we're ready to move on to the next topic, I'll hold off on the rest.
anybody else? So what was the other one that may be coming up in special session? Education, of course.
We have that in October,
And did we have another one? Well, they're hoping for border
an election.
And
and
election.
election integrity.
So that's Dana's update, was the election integrity.
Okay,
She sent her wish list.
go ahead.
So Dana says that,
This is Dana Meyer.
yes,
I'll
be speaking for Dana.
With her in our meetings.
yes.
I'm
So,
not sure your mic's on.
well, it's not intended for the room, it's intended for the live stream. So it just makes sure that we're being heard. So just saying that no ranked choice voting is going to be a big priority because different folks are pushing for it. Making sure that only citizens can vote. If you all recall, that failed. They had to have a 2/3 majority vote in order to get it through the House, and it failed because all the Democrats were coming back voting present instead of yes or no. So that caused, a lot of issues, and some of the Republicans jumped ship, and then I think there was actually there's just a lot of delay on that one. So making sure that only U.S. citizens can vote is going to be a very, very big deal moving forward, and it's definitely on her list. Precinct-based voting is a big one. We like to have, yes, we like to see our precincts voting as a precinct instead of as a countywide. I mean, I feel like there's just so much, there's just a lot of openness for fraud or cover up or lack of transparency that occurs whenever you have large counties and it's countywide voting all the time everywhere. It does. We need precinct voting. Yeah, and that too. Let me see. I had this and then it closed on me, which is always so much fun. But we also have no polling locations on any school campus. And I think she's saying that Carrie Isaac is saying that she's wanting to get, so K through college gets them off the college campuses.
Awesome.
I think that's what we're meaning. So is making sure that no polling locations on any school campus. And it sounds like Carrie Isaac is carrying that one.
There was a lot of pushback in that
I bet there
in the
was.
regular session.
I bet there was. And then mandating that Texas Secretary of State participates in the SAVE program or the SAVE program, which is the DHS list other than Texas federal agencies that use like Medicaid and stuff like that. Wait, DHS? Yeah, Department, is that Homeland Security or Health and Human Services? I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know.
DHS, Department of Homeland Security.
Okay,
The Department of Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
HHS,
What
isn't
do
it?
you think?
HHS. Okay, so it's DHS. And she says, yes, Homeland Security. Thank you, Dana. It's great. It's great. I know. Technology is great. Yeah. So that's her list there. And it sounds like as we're going through these, fairy godmother. Anyway, as we're going through these, we want to make sure that this is also included in some of our pushes for session or for special session. So we'll be educating voters and that sort of thing on those ideas.
Push for special sessions.
You call the governor's office, you draft it, you write it for them. You say, look, this is what we need. This is what we want. And we need a special session to address this because your legislators did not get around to it. They ran out of time in their most conservative session ever.
Yes, RPT could do it. And anytime you get the chance to go on radio,
Anytime any of us get a chance to go on radio or we're interviewed for anything, you can also throw it in, especially if there's one, you especially, that's a softball for you.
She was telling me to.
It should be a softball for any of us.
Yes.
Ordered for her.
Oh, yeah.
So if someone wants to raise their hand to take care of that, we need a letter from RPT to the governor's office for the special sessions. Okay, Rachel, it's you.
I'll defer to Dana.
I second the nomination.
You second? Because we really need that. I'm not sure, I'll be honest. I would like to believe that if I had a special session for border that something would come of it. And based on what I saw in legislation this last time, I don't have a lot of hope for it. I will tell you right now that we got the paperwork yesterday from Florida. Florida passed 4 great laws. And they did them under immigration. I would like to have those exact same bills, but I would put it under criminal. It's crime. Our crime in Texas with 4 major cities is through the roof. And cars particularly, because the smugglers steal the car to go smuggle. So they're up 150%, in case y'all didn't know that. We now have murders that we didn't have before. But Florida's 4 immigration laws were, and I think there's 5, and I'm not sure what the 5th one is. One of them is they do not allow NGO buses to bring people into Florida and drop them off. And so when I asked one of the leaders for our state that has a great deal to do with this, he just said, we checked into it in the beginning and the attorney said we couldn't do it.
Which attorney?
But in the beginning, so this everything at the border changes constantly. I mean, every 3 months. So when we were testifying in front of legislation so much, they were 5 or 6 months behind in their knowledge of what was really going on, at the border. It was really hard to get them to see a lot of stuff because they were depending on others to tell them. And the liberal news, I love what I've seen the last couple of days because stuff's getting out there. I mean, it is finally getting out there. How can they deny anything? Right now, they just want to get away from the border. But Florida, one was no NGO buses. Somebody I was speaking to a few minutes ago, and I don't know who it was, but they're doing an investigation into the NGO money. If an NGO is caught, they're held to the same level of accountability as a smuggler. In Florida. I asked the senator yesterday, her chief of staff, and I was like, so how are you enforcing this? And you know what she said? Federal doesn't mess with Ron DeSantis. They know that he does what he says he's going to do. I was pretty...
That's for Texas, right?
They don't cut his wires.
That's what they told me. I said, like, how are you enforcing this? And she said, well, they know we mean what we say. So it was that. And the other one they passed was they will not give driver's license to illegals. And they don't recognize any driver's license that any other state gave them. The next one, our favorite, no freebies. No free food, no homes, no nothing. They do get Medicaid, Medicare. Which one's the lower one?
Medicaid.
Thank you. Their hospitals now have to ask the people if they're legal or illegal, and they're now keeping track of all the charges. Yes, ma'am? Yes. Mm-hmm. So they passed all those and we couldn't. So if anybody's listening that really matters, please know that Floridians are more important to Florida governor than evidently Texans are to our Texas governor. As bad as it's getting, we still have not found a steady, strong, workable plan to do anything at the border, and it's been 2.5 years.
Well, your tires are gonna be so slashed in the water.
I know. I do speak now and then and go, okay, so as soon as my phone rings in the morning, I'm getting trouble from the governor's office, but I have no way to reach him. I doubt anybody in here does. Does anybody here have access to the governor?
Listen,
I tried once.
if you
Oh, I tried for 2.5 years. No one does. No one. So we just,
I received an invite to a reception honoring the governor in Fort Worth on October 5th.
well, you better go.
I can't get in.
So our
No, SREC's allowed.
Our TFRW club won several awards that gave me the opportunity to have my picture taken with him. So I had my business card, and as I shook his hand, I gave him my business card and said, this is what I do. That's the only reason I'm here, to get my picture taken with you. I went to the Christmas thing, same thing, had another picture, same thing, and that was kind of,
The last time I got to shake his hand, I gave him a red Kool-Aid packet and told him to keep Texas red.
oh, that's cute. That's.
He stared at me all dinner long after that.
Are you joking or are you serious?
No, that was the evening that I threw Dennis Bonin out of the legislative priorities.
Okay.
You can tell
Got a rebel.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to call the Texas Rangers, see me after the meeting, I'll give you a phone number and you can stay on them. You can pass it out through the state. The Rangers will love you, and people get to feel important because they got to call and gripe, make a difference. Do we have anything else that we need to discuss? So I'll ask for one more thing. I need 10 Republican House of Representatives to sign that if we get any point of orders during special session, that they will object. Is that what they do? They object? Does anybody know?
Yes.
And then therefore it goes to a floor vote. HB 20, our big border bill, got killed with a point of order. And many others did too. So we have to make sure, if that's all we have, that we will make sure it doesn't get stopped. At least it goes to the floor. At least we get more than what we got in this last one, because the last one was just sad, totally sad. Matt has asked if he can address us for just a few minutes, and if I have no objections, I will hand him the mic. I trust that it's something that we want to hear.
Not necessarily. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on what we're doing over in Platform Advocacy Committee. We're going to, when we go to convention this year, we are going to begin our committee meeting 2 weeks prior to the start of convention. So we are going to be conducting our initial committee of the whole meeting, and then all of our subcommittee meetings over Zoom. And we're going to be debating all the resolutions that come up and voting on whether or not we think they should be in the platform or not for 2 weeks. And then when we go to convention, we'll have a much more, a better starting point, I guess, on our document when we're farther along. There's 2 reasons that I'm doing that. Number one, it's easier for us and better for our editorial staff because they just get slammed during convention week. There's so much pressure on them, so I'm giving them a little more time. That'll end up producing a better document for the convention floor ultimately, and a better platform that doesn't have duplicative planks, we hope, and has, is better organized and everything for the final product. The other thing that it's equally important is that will free us up to have more time to take testimony on Monday and Tuesday of convention week. So we'll be able to hear more from delegates or from outside advocacy groups, whoever it is, on their particular issue. So instead of maybe 30 minutes of testimony per subcommittee, we might have, and don't hold this, but we might have like 3 hours of testimony. So it's really an effort to have more inclusivity for all the delegates to have input into what the platform ultimately looks like.
Will it not go till 12 o'clock at night?
Hopefully not. So,
I'll still go.
yeah, we'll probably see. You know how it is. The work expands to fill the available time, right? So, Thursday, which is committee of the whole, the permanent committee won't be affected. Probably Wednesday will be the same as it's always been, the committee of the whole. So it's really just Monday and Tuesday we're changing up, probably. I reserve my right to alter that a little bit, or whoever the platform committee chair ends up being. I'm kind of doing all this because of my past experience. The second thing that I want to just let you guys be aware of, we had this thing, we were a new committee, and we tried to do a whole lot of things this session and pretty much failed at all of them because we bit off more than we can chew, really, and we were just too organized. There was just too much work. So we have sort of redefined our mission for this next cycle. So what we're going to be doing, both before and after convention, is going through the platform and coming up with a list of planks that we, the committee, believe will have a high impact to better the state of Texas, high impact on the citizens and on the state. And then we're going to be advocating for the legislature on those specific planks. And so we'll probably be doing a lot of the same things that you guys do, writing legislation and contacting people and trying to get them to push through what we want to push through. We will not be duplicating anything that comes out of legislative priorities. You guys will be doing your thing. We'll be looking at other planks in other areas and pushing those. We don't have a set number. It's not going to be 8 or whatever gets voted on by the convention, you guys are kind of restricted to that. We're a little more open-ended. We may have fewer, we may have more. I expect we'll have more, but we don't have a number yet on how that's going to go. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that, so you'd be aware of sort of where platform advocacy is going. In particular, getting back to the Zoom meetings that we're going to be having the 2 weeks prior to convention, I want to make sure that all the SREC are aware of that, because it may affect who you appoint to be on the committee. Because instead of a 5-day, 6-day commitment where it's all day, 12 hours, you've got a 3-week commitment now. So, just make sure you're thinking about that when you make your recommendation for who is going to serve on platform committee from your Senate district. Okay? Any questions or anything? Nope. All right. Thank you.
I was just going to say, I had several precincts that did not have their legislative priority choices. You know how they did the votes the couple of nights before and stuff, and they never made it in. So as we get closer to that, if somebody wants to remember to tell somebody that they need to have them by Thursday rather than Friday night, so that when they get to the convention on Saturday, they're ready. Because there was several of them that they were very, very important, and they didn't make it. Because they just didn't. I think they just didn't do, 3 minutes is all you get, and it was too far out of control. So there was a lot that didn't make it. Yes?
I'm not part of it. Can I ask
That's
you a
okay,
question?
please.
Do you have an example of like one of those priority subjects that didn't make it in?
There was some of younger generation that insurance was some of it, some things that were mandatory, meaning school loans, things like that were coming up in there. Just kind of random, but it was important to them. It wasn't something I thought about, but, and today, they voted on one of the Texas YRs, is that what it was called? These different groups coming in. I don't know, most of us, except this lady here probably, our kids are in those age groups. And I don't know if y'all listen to them, but mine are not shy, and I hear a lot. And so they have a lot of opinions things that I have not even thought of. So I'm really excited for some of those young groups to come and address us, get a chance to talk to us about what the concerns are of people in different age groups. Our concerns change as the more money that we work for that we lose. We all know that. In the beginning, the college kid's going to give as much as they want to give. And then when they finally realize that they're giving 30% to people that don't want to work, a lot of times, then their opinions change. That needs to be, that we're all, except for some of us, we're in another league of our own, just like the college. We have different ideas that have changed. I have a real problem with people saying, well, I knew them 10 years ago. They were this and this, and I'm like, well, I pray I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. I hope I'm better. I hope I've learned more and have applied more to my life. I guess some people might have sour grapes from the last 10 years, but there's just a lot of different things that we have to learn from different groups. I'm waiting for a psychiatrist or a psychologist to come and address us, because we're all out there asking for the Democrats. They're going to join us, right? They're going to join us. This week you hated them. Next week they're your friend. How do you do that? Like, seriously, how do you do that? Because if they're coming over, they're not where you might be. Maybe you're as a voter in all of this, we have been voted in to vote 100% with our principles, platforms. That's our job. But people that are switching over, I'm sorry, you may not like them, I always tell everybody, you're not choosing your Valentines, okay? What we're doing is we're choosing, these are volunteers that have the same goals, and a lot of them will learn more. But there really needs to be training for all of us on how to accept them, how to talk to them, and how to educate them. So maybe as they get a little older and learn more, that they will be a stronger Republican. But you know what? Our priorities have changed going into this election. I think everybody's has. All of our legislative priorities are very, very important. I happen to know if we don't fix the border, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I've become jaded, if we don't fix the border, none of these priorities are going to make a difference. School, education, insurance, none of those are going to matter. We've already lost so much of Texas. Some people don't realize it because they're in their own worlds, but we've lost the war right now with the border. And when most people say border, they think of the Rio Grande, right? That's not it. They're coming in from all those countries. All of them. They're on their way. Thousands and thousands and thousands. So even if they get stopped at our border, somebody has to feed them. I mean, I was thinking a few minutes ago, I was doing numbers in my head. If I've got 30,000 that have come in the last 2 weeks, why don't you multiply that times 3 meals a day? Who's paying? Those poor border cities are paying. I know, because we live right there. There's so much more to be taken care of, but it's not there where we need to stop them. It's in the countries they're coming from. And we're giving them lots and lots of money, but there's no oversight for that money. So we're giving it to those people. They've got less people because they're all coming here, and now we're going to be paying here and there. So it's the oversight. But, what do I know? I'm just a citizen of Texas. What's your solution?
These are big
Do you can't? They won't do that. I'm turning this off.
Until we close, I don't know that we can.
Yeah. So
Can I close it?
do we have more adjourn? Do we
We
have
can
any,
adjourn.
do we have any further business to do other than?
Does anybody have any? We were kind of grabbing for it anyway.
Move to adjourn.
The meeting is adjourned.
Turn it back
Now
on.
you can,
It is on. I couldn't figure out how to turn it off.
you can mute it.
Gotta turn it off.
I'm not real bright.
I will just add that if everybody wants to send the the special sessions wish list to, I guess, me or you or somebody, we can send it to Jennifer.